Hi, it's Peggy Oliveira with Courageous Journeys. Thanks so much for joining me today. I've missed you. It's been a while since I've done a video for YouTube. Let's see if I can make this a regular occurrence. um, Today I wanted to talk about the idea of recognizing, acknowledging, honoring our woundedness. Over the last several months or so, I've done some interviews with people, and I'm getting ready to speak at a conference, Convergence, this October in Arizona, and I'm really looking forward to it. But as I've been having conversations with coaches and leaders in different realms, this conversation continues to come up around the fact that all of us have been wounded. Whether you've been sexually abused or not, we all have something that causes us to struggle. And it can be hard to acknowledge that. It can be hard within ourselves to acknowledge it, and it can be even harder, sometimes it's harder, to acknowledge that outwardly and share that with anybody, that we struggle in some way. But one of the things that I've always known when it comes to survivors of abuse is that we cope with abuse in part by telling ourselves it wasn't a big deal, or we're over it, or whatever it might be, minimizing, denying, avoiding. What I'm really recognizing as I've expanded into this virtual world and talking with people all over the world is that no matter what our history is, we tend to struggle with many of the same things, with a sense of worthiness, with confidence, with being able to stand in our truth, whatever that truth may be. And for some people, it's hard to recognize what those wounds really are. It's hard to accept that there's maybe something there. But the problem with that is that if you do not honor whatever is wounded, you end up kind of bypassing and going through your life. And as probably many of you know, if you do not attend to a wound, if you think about a physical wound, a significant physical wound, if you don't tend to that, if you don't do things to take care of it and heal it, it's going to get worse, potentially a whole lot worse. And emotional wounds are the same. And an emotional wound can be something relatively, so I'm going to put that in quotes, it can be relatively minor, and it can obviously be something really, really significant and deeply, deeply wounding. But for the person who experiences something relatively minor on that spectrum, it doesn't make their wound any less real. That's what they need to heal. For those of us on a spectrum who have maybe experienced a lot of childhood wounding, there's obviously some more stuff there that needs to be healed. But no matter where you fall on that spectrum, if there's a wound there, it needs to be acknowledged. We need to say, oh, you know what, this did kind of affect me. Oh, I have this gaping hole in my leg that needs to be healed. Otherwise, I'm going to lose my leg. And like I said, that can be hard. It can be hard for a couple of different reasons. One, I think in our culture always, but in some ways it's even more significant now because in the realm of self-development and spirituality, there's a lot of discussion about focusing on the positive and staying in a high vibration. And if you look at those wounds or even name them as wounds or struggles, that somehow you're lowering your capacity. And as a therapist, that's a bit of a struggle for me. in and of itself, because while I understand the concept of that, I also fully know from a very grounded place that we are human beings and we are all affected by different things. And no matter how many positive people you surround yourself with, no matter how positive minded you are, those wounds are impacting you. And oftentimes, staying in that positive place in terms of thinking and being in a high vibration, or positive affirmations, and never allowing yourself to think about anything that hurts or is bad, the truth is that that causes you to bypass the reality of whatever wound is there. And most of you have probably heard me say many times, you cannot heal what you deny is wounded. That is absolutely true. I believe that with everything in my being. You cannot heal what you deny is wounded. If you have a huge gaping hole in your leg and you try to ignore it and tell yourself it doesn't really hurt, it's not significant, and if you just focus on everything that's good in your life, it's going to get better. We all know that that isn't true. It can't be. It can't be. You need attention given to that gaping hole. You need to honor the truth of what's happening there. You need attention. You need tools, whether it's medications, whether it's surgery, whatever it might be. You need things to help heal that. If you don't, you will continue to go through your life not being able to fully use your leg, probably being in pain that you try to mask by avoiding, by drugs or alcohol, by doing all these other really good things, hoping that if you do enough good, you won't feel that anymore. It's not the way it works. Physically, it's not the way that it works emotionally. One of the difficult things about acknowledging that wound is it can feel overwhelming. What if I acknowledge the truth of this gaping hole? Then what? Am I going to be able to walk? Am I going to have to take time off, time away? Am I going to feel the depth of that pain? It's a reasonable concern. The truth is that you might become more consciously aware, and that might seem like it's not a good thing. But when you are consciously aware of that, it allows you to heal it. If you pretend it's not there, you can never heal it. Once you recognize, wow, I need to heal this. You know, when you clean out a wound, it's usually not pleasant. It burns, it stings, it does not feel good. But you do that, and then 20 minutes later, it's not there. That feeling, that intensity of pain, it's not there anymore. And then you just tend to it every day it gets better. It really is the same thing with emotional wounds. It can be painful to look at them. It can be painful to acknowledge the betrayal, the sadness, the grief. I'm not going to tell you that it's not. However, once you allow yourself to look at that and think, okay, this is real, then you can begin the work on healing. When you don't allow yourself to acknowledge it, the truth is that pain is there. Think about it. How often do you find yourself feeling sad for no apparent reason, feeling angry, overreacting, holding yourself back, self-sabotaging? Those are all symptoms of the wound that is there. So while you may not be consciously thinking about what that wound is, it's showing up in your life every day. And my deepest desire and hope for all of us, no matter what your history, is to heal. Because I truly believe that you can, no matter what that wound is. The loss of your first love, your first boyfriend or girlfriend broke up with you and broke your heart, which is something that so many of us, probably all of us, can relate to on some level. Or maybe it's something like repeated abuse as a child, sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, neglect. All the pain that is associated with that whether you're consciously aware of it or not, is with you every single day. And I don't want people to feel, I know that can feel overwhelming and so depressing. I don't want people to feel that tsunami of reality hitting you. I want you to recognize that reality has been within you this whole time. And what gives me like excitement and joy in talking about this, I know this is difficult stuff, but what energizes me about this is that if you're watching this video, you already know that. There's a part of you that is fully aware of that. And because of that, it's not about having to relive all that pain. It's about now you're at a place where you can say, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to let go of all of this. And that's what this is about. It's not going back and reliving all the stuff that's been hurtful. And healing doesn't even necessarily require that. It's about acknowledging it so that from this point forward, you can begin to heal that wound. You can clean it out. You can stitch it up. That's what I want you to take from this. No matter what those wounds are, healing is possible. I truly believe that for everybody, no matter where you fall on that spectrum of woundedness. Wherever you fall, you can heal. You just have to be willing to acknowledge that there's something to heal. Because you cannot heal what you deny is wounded. I wish we could. I do. But it's not possible. So wherever you are on that spectrum of woundedness, no matter where you are on your journey of healing, please take this video, these words, as your cheerleader, your support in believing fully, wholeheartedly in your capacity to heal whatever that is. And I know for many of you who are going to watch this, there's a lot of healing that needs to happen. But so much of that healing is just acknowledging that there's healing to do. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for listening and being willing to hear this message, to acknowledge that there's maybe something there to heal. And you don't have to do it alone. You can participate and connect with me here. I have a closed Facebook group that you can join. You do have to sign up for it. I try to do that just so that I can make sure that people have an interest in being there. For survivors of abuse, it is for survivors of childhood abuse. You can find that on Facebook at Courageous Warriors. I will share a link in the comments or on the description for that Facebook group, and you sign up on my website and then you request to join on Facebook. I also have a public profile on Facebook, Peggy Oliveira. And on that public profile, so not my personal page, but on the public profile page, I'm sharing more there. I'm also doing some more writing where I'm sharing some different things. And of course, here on YouTube, where you never know when I might pop in and do a video. So I hope to connect with you on Facebook, on the public profile page. I also do have the Courageous Journeys page on Facebook, but I'm slowly transitioning from that public Courageous Journeys page to my Peggy Oliveira public profile page. And then I have that closed Facebook group as well. So thank you all for joining me. There's some new things that I'm working on, some new ways of connecting and sharing this message and healing and opening that up to a wider audience. So stay tuned for that as well. Thanks again for being here and sharing this space with me. See you soon.